Way Up with Angela Yee. I'm Angela Yee, and Jasmine from the Jasmine brand is here with me.
Yes.
Of course. And we have two amazing guests with us. And these are the first for Way Up with Yee. I mean, we're a new show, so we're still getting our imprint. But Ryan Coogler is here, and Erick Peyton is here. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yep.
Exciting.
And, you know, me and Jasmine, we partner on a lot of different things. And I want to talk about you guys and the partnership that you have with this documentary, Stephen Curry, Underrated.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I co-founded Unanimous with Stephen, and this doc came about just through one of our development meetings. With company's been around for about 5 years, and the idea around the company is really grounded in inspiration. But when we sit down with SC, we're going through the full slate, and we're looking at all the projects, and he's giving his insight, I'm giving my insight. But also it's a chance for me to pitch him stories about his life, right? And so
he feels like he's so not wanting to, shine the light on himself, so to speak.
That's very true. Very true, very true. It's always very strategic on what he doesn't want to take the light from anybody, really. He thinks his and it's true. He's there to amplify. He wants to amplify other people's stories. But for this one, I pitched him the idea of the Davidson run, and he sat back and he thought about it. He's like, it's been enough time. It's been 10, 15 years since the run. And he was like, and I was thinking about graduating, and so then it was like, oh, well, this is a real story. And then when I called Ryan, and then he got excited about it. I was like, oh, we got some momentum. Man, and so that's how you know.
That down.
Right.
Yeah.
Ryan's involved now too. Okay.
Let's go.
Absolutely.
That was very strategic. And just for clarity, because I also want you guys to clear this up, because the strike is going on now, but this is a nonfiction work. So I know people will be watching like, wait, I thought y'all not supposed to be doing interviews. But to shed some light, because I know the general, even myself, didn't really know what the rules were. So I just want to make sure we clear that up too.
Yeah. I'm a member of the WGA. And my union is obviously involved in a labor dispute right now with the AMPTP, we on the picket lines right now. It's been getting close, coming up on 80 days. I want to say maybe a little more, but yeah, it's a real labor dispute out there. And SAG recently joined as well, because they couldn't figure it out with the AMPTP either. I'm able to promote this right now because this is non-WGA generated work. This is nonfiction. It operates outside of that. So thankfully I can, talk about this beautiful movie that we made. Similar to EP, at Proximity Media, we started some years back. We talked about our friend Shaka King, but we started with making Space Jam and Judas and the Black Messiah back in 2018-19. And then a few years ago, we decided to get into the nonfiction business as well. A great friend of mine, Pete Nix, who's the director of Underrated, came on board to run nonfiction for us. He made a couple films, Anthem, which is out now on Hulu, and this one, which will be out for folks to watch in a few days. And it's been fantastic. We were so excited when Erick thought of us, and he and Steph came with the project. And a lot of times when people pitch you something, it's a kernel of our idea, and we would have been fine with that coming from them. But it was a real testament to them as filmmakers, as businessmen. They really thought it out and said, hey, look, we want to look at the Davidson run, but specifically around this promise that Steph made to his mom to finish up, his undergraduate degree. And Pete Nix, who I wish could be here, he's dealing with a family issue, but he's a cinema verite filmmaker. He kind of comes from a real traditional doc point of view. Made 3 films in Oakland. Looked at community and systems. One about Highland Hospital. One where he embedded himself with the police force during the time of reform, and a massive scandal broke out. He covered that. And another one when he looked at Oakland High School, their graduating class, in the light of the pandemic. He just kind of embedded himself in these places and told their stories. And he saw this as an extension of that, with Steph being kind of an adopted son of Oakland.
He went to Howard, right?
Pete did go to Howard.
I was trying to find out his connection with Oakland though, because of you and.
No, I mean he just wound up moving there because he went to after he, man, Pete's got a really interesting story. Went to Howard, ended up serving some time, came home and reapplied, finished up school, and went to journalism school at Cal Berkeley.
Okay.
So that's kind of what brought him to the Bay.
Okay.
Became a documentary filmmaker and fell in love. You know, and wound up staying there. Fell in love with a woman who's a nurse. Who worked at Highland Hospital, which is the only trauma unit in Oakland, and that's how he ended up.
That's how he ended up doing. Okay,
I was trying to figure out the
documentaries are a labor of love too, because I've always heard that, you know, and clearly, like with somebody like Steph Curry, you know, that's a easier to get done and get a deal for.
Yeah.
But some of those documentaries is really, people have always said they don't make a lot of money, normally.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
and those are important stories to be told. That's why I always feel like it is a labor of love when you're doing.
Absolutely. I mean, look, I think that documentaries are a labor of love, but I think now, I mean, in media, one of the things you learn as you sort of get into this industry is like it all has to be a labor of love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Because you can work on the biggest movie or the biggest show or
Black
whatever.
Panther.
You know, and you know, and you know you have to love it when you start to get in there and you start to get, you know, you have to fight battles for creativity and create pathways for your writers. And as a producer, you know, speaking as a producer, I think you really do have to love it. You can't get into this industry, you know, wanting to be famous.
Just be rich and famous.
Yes.
It doesn't work that way.
It just doesn't.
Especially with a doc, I feel like you're saying.
For documentaries are some of my favorite things to watch, right?
Yes.
Even if I don't know the person, if it's an interesting story, it's in the way that it's told and the way that it's shot. I remember I used to love Hoop Dreams, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
that was like a classic documentary to me. And that took such a long time, you know, to film something like that, to really follow people and not knowing how it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You know?
Pete comes from that school. Yeah. You know, and that's the interesting thing. Like with this, we didn't know what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean exactly that. Like you know, we spoke and it was like, you know, let's do this. I think A24 was on board.
Yeah.
We came on board, and Pete, the first thing Pete says is like, y'all need access. You know, I need access to Steph's life. Is he open to sharing? And I'm knowing this dude got a wife with a business to run and you know 3 growing kids, trying to take the Warriors to another championship.
Yeah, it's a lot going on.
You know, business. You know, so I'm like, man, when is Pete gonna get in there? You know, but because he's a professional, he's been doing this a long time. Like he kind of knew how to play it, and Erick and Steph, you know, we're great producers. You know what I mean? In terms of looking at Steph's schedule and figuring out when we can have time to plan and go. And we had no idea this dude was going to break the 3-point record at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, yeah.
Had no idea that we're going to win the championship. You know,
and they were counting him out.
Yeah, our odds were long.
Is it over for Steph Curry?
I love the inserts of the commentary during the process. I was like, this is so, but I didn't even think about the fact that you can't predict what's going to happen.
No.
Yeah. And this was kind of like,
that's why it was a big deal, right? At the time.
I mean, it was crazy. Like, and watching, you know, as a producer, watching the push pull of like Pete kind of monitoring the season and saying, oh, well, look, man, maybe he'll break the record at home. Maybe, or you know what, let's save some money so we can get to the East Coast and have enough cameras there, and you know, we want to follow him in case he does it.
And the pandemic was going on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
You have to see people with their masks on. You know what else is interesting too? Because when you watch sports, a lot of times people don't look at the athletes as humans. They just look at it as if they mess up, they'll just like totally go in on you crazy.
Right. Yeah.
And not even looking like this person has feelings. They have a family that has to hear these things and people that care about them. And watching this and hearing like some of the commentary and then having followed Steph and seeing like where he came from, you start to really feel like, damn, why they gotta talk so much?
I know, you start to feel bad.
Really empathetic. Like these are human beings. Yeah. And I think we do that a lot with celebrities too.
Yeah.
We do.
You know, you follow their life and you act like they're not actual people that hear these things and feel a way about it and can, you know, internalize that.
That's the wonderful thing about docs, right? Especially an amazing documentary really humanizes the subject, and everybody can sort of relate to. Hopefully, you know, if the documentarian, the producers, and the crew sort of does, and it is their objective, it's to humanize them. It's to make them relatable, and that's what one of the things that we went out with Underrated. Is to hopefully have something in there that everybody can sort of relate to, right? It's not just a sports story. So, no, you're absolutely right. One of the goals was to humanize Stephen and to have people understand his whole life, you know, at little pieces of his entire life.
Yeah, because you don't even realize how small he was when he first was getting
so little.
He looked like he was like 12 and everybody else was.
he definitely looked like a kid.
Some of those people are like grown men playing in
like,
high school.
What's this little dude gonna do? My question is, he seems like he's pretty reserved in terms of like the public and speaking to the media. Like he doesn't say too much. He says little things here and there. Was he apprehensive about you kind of guys going inside and showing more of his personality?
Great question. Yeah, that's a great question.
I mean, the short answer is really not after meeting Pete and understanding Ryan. You when you're approaching a subject like this, you build the team around them to make them feel comfortable. And so once SC was comfortable, he was all for it. He was all for it,
and he knew he could be like, take that out.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, this is my shit. Like,
not really.
No,
I mean,
not really.
So there's nothing he wanted to take out that you guys fought him about.
No, that you can't go into a documentary allowing the subject to have that ability.
The subject. You said the subject.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I would.
No, I mean we're regular people, so when you call him the subject, it's like okay.
Yeah, like once you agree to like make a doc, like especially with a verite filmmaker like Pete. And Pete lives and breathes it. Like his first movie was about himself. He turned the lens on himself and his own incarceration. His own struggles, his family history of addiction. Like so with Pete, if we saying we making a movie, we making it. You know what I mean?
That's it.
And anything you giving him access to.
Yes.
You would have to like explain, hey, I don't want this in there, and he gonna be like, why not? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got,
Listen.
so I think Steph knew he was in for a penny, in for a pound, and gave access to what we needed, and we didn't get no notes like, hey, yo, take
No.
Nah.
It's okay.
You know what's funny? Even though I know the outcome of what was going to happen, when I was watching him in high school in the first game that he played in, he was stinking it up. I was like,
hold on, Angela's talking so much shit. She was like, yo.
I was like, but I still your reaction.
Yeah.
Every time he missed, it was like, oh.
It was like secondhand embarrassment,
But
right?
but we know what's going to happen and how this story is going to end.
But it's interesting because it kind of doesn't matter, right? Like when you're in the moment. Yeah.
How did he feel watching that?
So it's funny. We just talked to him about that, and he said he hadn't seen that clip since the documentary.
I bet he probably
and in his mind, he said he was like, I didn't think it was. In my mind, I'm like, well, it's my first game. We missed a couple. He said, but when I saw it, I was like,
every
man.
shot but one.
He was like, maybe I shouldn't have been out there.
Yeah.
But that was so interesting to me how that coach actually really could have changed his life for the better or for the worse in that moment. Because I still don't know what made him say, put him back in.
That's what we were saying. We were
game.
like, why did they put him in?
Well, I think like, I mean, it's interesting, right? Like, because if Pete were here, he couldn't be here because of a family issue, man. And nobody talks about the film better than him, right? Because it's his vision. But what do you say is that this film is about the power of community, about the power of family, and about the power of mentorship, and ultimately, with those three things culminating is the power that comes with being seen. You know what I'm saying? Like it's called Underrated, but the film, if you look at it, it's really about the people who didn't underrate him.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's about the people who looked at him, and instead of making notes about what wasn't there, you know what I mean? They saw what was actually in front of them, and that decision, man. Like I think the decision to leave him in that game and start him the next game changed the course of basketball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just did. Like
the whole game is played differently.
Yeah, like now people are comfortable with volume shooters.
Yeah.
I think because of that, I think the turning point was that game.
Yeah.
Because let's say he benched him.
Because what would have happened if he never played that game?
You know what
They're
I'm
like,
saying?
he missed a shot and they still let him go in and take another one.
I was so watching. I was like, why are they playing that game? Like, I was so confused. But I guess this kind of speaks to what coaches and your team sees. Seems like when you see potential in someone. I was interested in seeing how when the coach is highlighted and the different team members and how you can tell that they go back to that place. Like you can see eyes getting teary eyed.
When he missed that shot, that could have.
You see the passion of them re-looking at that.
Yes. Oh man, I felt so bad.
Yeah.
I know it must be so hard for people to have to relive because that was like the game could have been the game-winning shot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Jay Rich was a baller too.
Yeah.
Play.
Yeah, he could
that
play.
was who was serving Steph when he first got to the
Yeah.
college.
And y'all showed that in there too.
Yes.
But yeah, I just want to say I went through a lot of emotions watching it. But it was honestly like just very well done as far as even seeing his family. You know, I'm over there. His mom is like crying.
Yeah.
You know, and so it was just amazingly well done. There was one little part where they flashed to Patrick Ewing. I guess Patrick Ewing's son was playing against them. And that I love that moment because we're like, oh, that's Patrick Ewing's son. And then you see Patrick Ewing in the stands.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
with his little button up.
stressed out.
Yeah, Ryan talks about this. He was talking about this yesterday, about how you kind of see throughout the journey, and Pete does this well, and JD Marlowe, our editor, but you see these peaks of other people that are in Stefan's class, right? You see LeBron, you see Russell Westbrook, you see Kevin Love, you see all these people that were in his class, and you realize that this guy who was undersized and underrated has been taking these people throughout his whole journey, has been challenged by these people throughout this whole journey. So he was building for who he is today.
Yeah, I found that really interesting. Like big shout out to Pete and JD Marlowe, like you said, but the juxtapositions, because it's very clear, like on Steph's journey, and in the film, how greatness responds to him. Like how you get the moment with KD coming by, saying, "Hey, I just wanted to come by, congratulate you, show you some love." You get the moment with Spike, ask for the autograph,
in the newspaper,
and you get the moment when LeBron, shows up to March Madness, to specifically to see him.
That's amazing.
And then you wonder how did these scouts miss this guy? Like how did they write this report? Like LeBron didn't miss him. You know what I'm saying? The greatness was responding to him with recognition. They weren't writing him off. So I think that part was for me was really interesting and really moving. Because you get these narratives of these guys, being fiercely competitive with each other. Maybe they don't like each other, and then you see. The total opposite. You know what I'm saying? It's love between them and support. Why they trying to take each other out when they working? You know what I'm saying? Like when it's
I love
when it's
that
over,
ability to do that though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
great.
No, it was amazing. And then the other thing that I was gonna say, that was great is when you are underrated, you work so much harder. Yes. And when you see the amount of work that Steph Curry really puts in, like with his training, with the shooting, and how much he had to do, even early on with his dad.
Yes.
Oh man.
Making sure that he took
I think that's the thing that I watched the film with my boys. They're 9 and 11, and all of them they consider themselves wanting to be an athlete. And
of course they do.
Do you see this though?
And he points to this, and you're like,
this is the bar.
This is what work looks like. So when I tell you to go shoot free throws, you're like, I want to watch YouTube, see what Steph's doing. You know what I mean? See what he was doing at year. So, and I think that's a great example. That's why this film is so great, is because it's for everyone. It's for the young kids, young athletes, and so.
Because people say they want to be an NBA player, but are they putting in the work to actually be able to do it? Because he really, and even you see to this day with his workouts that he does.
It is. He is on a whole. What we were talking about last night is like you can't be tired if you're already tired. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like that's the way he thinks. He's just like he lives his life uncomfortable because he's just used to it, right? And so he's able to go work out at midnight, you know what I mean, and work out till 2 a.m. and then get up for press at 6 a.m. and he's able to do that because he's built that discipline.
Right, he's like, I slept 90 minutes and I'm shooting a commercial.
Yeah, he's like, I got 2 hours of
sleep. I can't even keep my eyes open, but still always seems like he's in good spirits.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's not an easy thing to do. It definitely made me feel like I'm not doing enough.
I was just thinking when you were saying that. Listen, me and Herbie, like, more so me.
You want to go work out 30 minutes?
And I'll be like, no, like, and then, like yesterday we walked home, and I was like, okay, I'm not working out in the morning because I walked home. I noticed lately, I feel like there's been more of an interest of documentaries, like people seeing documentaries. Mm-hmm. Do you think? Why do you think that is, and how do you think this project is gonna do? I mean, it is about a really popular player.
Yeah. I think that I think Underrated will do well. I'm pretty confident in that just because of the reactions have been, really positive. I also, I mean, I don't want to call this my project because it's a team project, but I love everything that I do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I love
You've done a lot. We saw your.
So
We've seen the list.
I will say that. I think the reason why documentaries are getting popular is because the medium is sort of, also for people like Ryan to be able to bring in people like Pete and to produce them and to sort of allow pathways for creatives. That's ultimately what sort of pushes the medium along and allows a genre to sort of shift into to new narrative formats. And I think that's what's really happening with docs. It's like you're seeing people push that forward. It's nothing wrong with Hoop Dreams, nothing wrong with Underrated, but there's a ton of mediums, there's a ton of ways to do docs. And I think that's what's making it change, and that's what's making it more interesting. Also, subjects are becoming more open to it, right? You know, and becoming more trusting. And there's a lot of amazing stories to tell. And so, that's why, but Ryan probably knows more than.
I mean, I don't know what I know, but like,
It's so
because
funny.
it's you know, it's such an interesting time with technology and where everything is going. But I do think that people are definitely more comfortable with cameras than they've ever been, because we all have them. They're in our pockets, they're in our houses, they're on our front door.
People run up to you with the camera out already.
Like you know. So I think and I think people are with the advent of streaming and social media, people are used to looking at real people. Real people are interesting. You know?
Yeah.
I would always say that real people are more interesting than fiction.
Like we work hard in fiction to make fake things seem real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
why not take these real? Because there's some crazy people out here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And interesting stories also.
Yeah. So I think that and with the advances in technology, like, you know, there was a time where a documentary in Jurassic Park, they look different. Like the production value, the camera work look different. But now, you know, technology has gotten so good. You know what I'm saying? Like an episode of Chef's Table, you know, could look like, you know, it could look as good as whatever you gonna pay to see at the box office. You know what I'm saying? Maybe better.
Right.
You know, and so I think that things are crossing over and blending in a way where people are much more open to nonfiction, you know, than they ever been before.
What do you guys, since you brought up Chef's Table, what do you guys watch at home when you're just relaxing and not having to work?
Ooh.
Nothing. And can you watch it without a producer or director's eye?
Are you critiquing it?
Yes, that's such a great question. I saw Oppenheimer last night. Okay. And you know, for my director brain to shut off, something has to be really good. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm constantly seeking out something that's good enough to take me out of that mode. You know, you know what I'm saying? And that film was really good. Big shouts out to Chris and Emma. Big shouts out to Ludwig Göransson, a composer, partner with us at Proximity, and Serena Göransson, who did the violin on it, his wife. It's a beautiful movie, and it's really, really good. And the IMAX is overwhelming, and I lost myself in it. You know, but it is tough. You know, like, you know, when you work in the business, like, you know, because you constantly, like, you seeing everything through that lens. You wondering, I wonder what camera they use, or that was an interesting choice there. Maybe I wouldn't have done that.
Okay, that's the critiquing.
You can't help it.
But one of the first days of film school, my professor told me that, like, you'll never look at anything the same after you go through film school, and it's absolutely true. You know.
So what do you watch?
Yeah, answer the question.
So I mean, I watch everything. You know what I mean? The Bear was the thing that I was.
The new season?
Yes.
Okay. I haven't watched the second season yet.
So good.
Okay. All right. I watched the first season. I haven't watched the second season yet. It's a little dark, though.
Very dark.
Very
heavy.
Dark. Very, very heavy.
Yeah. But it's beautiful.
It's
second season is really good.
It's beautiful. Okay. And then documentaries, I consume them. I watch every doc. But also, I'm also giving notes on the things that we're doing too. Right. So that eats up a little bit of time too.
I'm sure a bit of time.
Yeah. But I got family, man. Like, they're young. It's hard. It's getting hard to watch. Yeah. I saw the Bear. Loved it. Maybe my favorite maybe my favorite bit of television in a long time.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to watch this.
It's real. The first season was really good.
What is it on? I don't even.
Hulu, right?
It's on Hulu.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's so many streaming services. It's really hard for me to. I have so many subscriptions. I'm like, is there a way we can?
You can use my login.
Okay.
Yeah. Watch that.
Yeah.
Sorry. Take that out. Take that out. Yeah. But no, but the bear is really good. I told you that before.
Yeah.
It's a little dark though. It's a little heavy.
You gotta let it wash over you a little bit. The first 2-3 episodes, especially second season, first 2-3 episodes, let it go.
Yeah.
And then when you hit about episode 3, episode 4, woo, you in it.
I mean,
you in it.
Yeah. It's really good.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to watch the second
season.
season.
Since everybody in the room says that, then I gotta get onto it. Yeah. And last thing I want to say, Ryan, I see you learn how to swim.
I did.
I gotta learn how to swim, man. Now I'm feeling really bad.
Get in there.
Like, how? So
get in there.
This is just a personal question. Like, so what was that? Because I know it's scarier as you get older and harder.
What helped for me?
Yeah, like how did you took swimming lessons? You said what?
No, like what motivated you to learn how to swim
you had to
as an adult?
The movie
and having kids.
Yeah, having kids. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but both things at once. But what I realized it was just goggles. Like, cause I would jump in the water and not be able to
close your eyes. I can't. My problem is I can't breathe right. Like, it's not natural for me.
Hold your breath.
I know, but it's not natural because you still got to let it out a little.
Yeah, you got it.
And then you'd be like,
you can do it.
You got it.
So you can swim? Like, what can you?
Can I swim? What you mean by that?
Like. So here's the thing. Like I can swim where like I can jump, float, and whatever. But I'm not diving. I'm not going to the bottom.
This is a shame,
I'm just living. Like I'm just gonna be able to make it.
Yeah,
so I can't swim.
I can't do nothing.
Can you swim?
I mean, I'm not winning no awards, but y'all can go.
You can dive.
Yeah.
You go to. You can swim.
Oh yeah, you can swim.
I wouldn't say that. It's not elegant. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm not.
No.
But we had a for work for my last movie. We had a 22-foot tank, and my actors would be at the bottom working, so I had to get down there with them, learn how to, I had to do my job. You feel me? Like
it wasn't the option.
How long? Gotta quit.
How long did it take you to learn how to swim? Because Angela, listen to this, because you can see how long.
Well, the swimming part was that didn't take long. The free diving, that's the part that you gotta like learn. Like you gotta learn how to clear your ears and how to like the rules are not coming up too fast. You don't want to come up faster than your bubbles.
Okay.
Is a rule. Wow. And I had to learn how to do that. But
all right, well, I'm not directing no movies underwater, so I should be fine.
You'll be all right.
But get in there though. Like I got a homie, man. I got a homie named Terrence Nash, and I remember I was working with him, and I told him I couldn't swim, and he was like, yo, the planet is 75% water. You need to figure that out.
You need to figure that out.
Things will go left.
Yeah. He didn't like hearing that, bro. He looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, I gotta get it together. You know what I'm saying?
And you got that this year.
Big shouts out to T.
Every year I say this.
I know, but this year, okay.
This year for me, but okay.
Yeah, he looked at me like I was crazy. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta figure that out, Angela.
He was like, come on, black man. He was like, you gotta straighten that out.
You can't be that statistic.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all so much, honestly, for coming through and taking the time, because the movie's amazing. The documentary, underrated. It's on Apple TV, so you guys can watch it there. When are we airing this? Friday? Thursday? So it'll be out tomorrow, so make sure you guys check that out. I promise you, like, it's an amazing story of, it just will show you how a lot of us feel like we're underrated, but what are we doing to make sure that the world sees us? And it's great to also see who does see us, and he does pay homage to those people who definitely were instrumental and key in his life to get him to the level where he is today, where he really changed the game. The first time I ever bought stocks, my stockbroker was like, invest into anything Steph Curry related.
That's
that was
amazing.
The advice he gave
Great
me.
advice.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but the Under Armour thing didn't.
I mean, you win some, you lose some, right?
Yeah. No, but that was honestly his advice. Anything Steph Curry related, invest in that.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
All right. Well,
thank y'all for having us.
Yeah,
thank you.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Erick, Peyton, Ryan Coogler. Thank you.
Way up.